Hello, kindred spirits, and welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we are looking into the messages of the equinox to see what is in and out of balance. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so welcome back, my beautiful kindred spirits, and anyone new who is joining us here on the channel today. It's wonderful to have you guys here. Today we are looking into the autumn or spring equinox, whether you're in the southern or northern hemisphere. Either way, we are at equal time of day and night. This is the perfect time as well with Libra season to be looking into the way in which we can bring balance back into our lives. So we're going to be looking into what is out of balance or highlighting what is in balance so that you can keep those things going or look and work on the things that are out of balance to bring more balance into your life. So this is the perfect time to work with these cards and see what comes forward. So we're going to look at them here in a moment. But as always, if you want to support the channel and support yourself even further, these snail mail readings are open where I send a letter to you in the mail, typewritten on a vintage typewriter. It's wax sealed closed, so it's for your eyes only, really diving deep into any question or query that's really been on your mind. And I also have Samhain and Mabon papers out right now for spell and ritual papers if you want to get your own set to bring forth more magic of the season. And I also hand carve stamps for you all if you're interested in that as well, for any particular powerful sigils that you use or art magic that you are interested in using, or even if you just want to use it in your bullet journal, whatever you wish, I would love to carve a stamp for you, as it is one of my new favorite things and I would love to do that for you. So feel free to check out all the information for everything down below in the description through my Instagram, and if you have a hard time finding anything, always feel free to reach out through an email. I would love to send more information your way. So with that all said, let's go ahead and look at the piles. So we have 3 different piles here today. The first pile is showcasing this piece of pyrite. So if you're feeling called to this glittery piece of pyrite, then pile number 1 is for you. Here for pile number 2, if you're feeling called to this one, then you may be feeling called to this piece of very flashy red tiger's eye. So that is pile number 2. And last but not least here for pile number 3 is this piece of Rutilated quartz. So if you're feeling called to this piece of Rutilated quartz, then that is pile number 3. So before you start heading off to the timestamps, I'd like to invite you to take a deep and cleansing breath here with me in just a moment, so you can really pick and choose your piles, so you can call in your guides and use your own intuition moving forward. So let's go ahead and take that deep breath together here now. And as always, there's no rules to this. You can choose any of the piles. You can choose bits and pieces from each of them. You can choose a pile and change your mind and flip-flop it as many as you'd like, many different ways as you'd like. All of the timestamps will be down below in the description alongside the chapter marks of this video, so you can easily find your pile. And if you are interested in any of those offerings that I mentioned earlier, for the magical spell and ritual papers, for Samhain and Mabon, for the snail mail readings, for getting your own custom hand-carved rubber stamp, then definitely feel free to reach out, as I would love to do something for you. So let's go ahead and get started though, here with pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you decide to choose this piece of pyrite, then this is the pile for you, sparkling and glittering, as we are going to be looking into exactly what this equinox is bringing to balance for you. So we're going to be looking into 2 different cards to showcase 2 different energies that are coming into your life right now that are possibly out of balance, or it's going to be highlighting that they're very much in balance right now, and that's something to continue to do. But we're going to be seeing any advice coming in to help bring things into balance for you, what is and isn't in balance, and using the charms to really look into more details. But I'll have all of the decks and supplies here, as always, listed in the description down below. But the deck that we are using here today is actually the Folkloric Forest Tarot, which I received in a giveaway recently and haven't used myself yet, but I usually try to do a sort of introduction to the deck for myself, a little reading to introduce myself and introduce the deck to myself. But for some reason, this deck just keeps telling me to use it, and so I just haven't gotten to doing that part yet, but we're just going to go ahead and wing it and see what happens with this deck today, because usually, like I said, I wait, I slow things down. I get to know the deck first, but for some reason this deck has just been like, no, please use me. So we're going to be using you today. Feel free to get yourself cozy, settled, comfy as always. This is going to be probably a bit of a shorter reading, as I find sometimes shorter readings at this time of year are more useful and helpful to me. And also, if you hear any commotion or weird cuts in this video, in terms of editing and things, I have a lot of family that's hanging out here today, so you're gonna hear footsteps ahead and above me. You're gonna hear weird sounds from my nephews and things, so feel free to just see it as it comes. But here we go. First two cards looking into what is in and out of balance right now for you guys at this equinox time, a time of equal day and equal night. So, and we're heading into Libra season, all about balance as well. So this is the perfect time to be looking into these. Okay, so you got two here. You actually had three, but I felt like the first two are what we're feeling. So we have the Hermit showing up here alongside the Five of Earth. And so both quite difficult cards in terms of the Hermit showcasing a time in which right now you are possibly healing or having a bit of inner wisdom coming forward with the Hermit, because the Hermit is all about going in. It's looking at our shadow. It's reflecting on things that have happened in the past that maybe didn't go as well as you'd hoped for, or maybe a bit of healing is needed. Some respite, some time to really look within and see, maybe I could have made changes. How could I have made those changes? How can I reflect and move forward from different personal experiences that you've gone through? And the Five of Air is kind of reflecting maybe some of those personal experiences that you've gone through. As you can see, the Five of Air showcases this, well, the five in general, anytime a five comes up, showcases conflict of some sort, or some sort of energy that's not necessarily always conflicting with one another, but is in direct contrast with one another, showcasing an opportunity for change. And the Five of Swords, or the Five of Air in this case, is really showcasing that feeling of unfairness, of unjust nature happening here. As you can see, you have these bird creatures, which I'm not exactly sure what they are. Maybe turkey vultures, maybe something else. But basically this deer is possibly wounded or going through a difficult situation in which they can't get up or they can't run away. They're still defending themselves, and yet these birds are still kind of coming in and taking advantage of them being at a disadvantage. And so, of course, for the deer, this is very unfair, but it is a very fortunate situation for the birds in this case. So it showcases this imbalance of unfairness, unjustness in the world around you. And so you're maybe reflecting on that, how you can do and move forward from this situation. So what is out of balance is really just this feeling of unjust and unfairness surrounding your inner and outer world, but mostly it feels like something coming externally. You're possibly healing, going through a difficult situation, which makes the things that are happening externally to you, things that are happening at your job, in your home life, in the relationships that you're surrounding yourself with, those sorts of things are happening where you don't have control over them. You don't have control over the situation that you're kind of down right now, but you might have people taking advantage of that situation, taking advantage of you being down. And that's something to maybe reflect upon, making sure you have people who are in your circles that you want in your circle that are going to support you rather than take advantage of you when you're down. You know what I mean? So let's see if you have any more advice or information coming forward here with the Woodland Warden's Oracle. Perfect one to have coming forward as a deck, because it is a warden. It's wanting to help sort of protect you from the situation of unjust nature. You have the Rooster and the Sunflower, communication. Very interesting too with the sunflower energy, because sunflowers, when there isn't enough sun for the sunflower to take in energy, sunflowers will turn toward one another to kind of send energy. I don't know exactly the science, but they're able to kind of help the other one continue to grow. And there's this reciprocity and this feeling of support and mutual aid that's coming forward. And so you have that coming forward right next to the Five of Air, where it's showcasing the complete opposite. It's like, well, if I can't get the sun, then I'm going to go find my own sun. I'm going to go take more from you than give back. And so there's, again, that feeling of unjust, that feeling of direct contrast contrast to you trying to heal and grow and wanting and needing support in this more vulnerable time. You also have the rooster, and the rooster, of course, is quite a loud and vocal creature, right? And so there also is this feeling of needing to maybe speak up, or needing to bring things into balance. Maybe it's also needing to speak up about and advocate for yourself as you are in this more difficult situation. I'm also going to pull you one of these cards as well, which showcases a archetype that maybe you're finding yourself in, or an archetype that you could take on right now that would help bring more balance to your life. So let's see what that archetype is. This one's more of the advice that you might need. Okay, so you have the champion. This is really interesting because the champion represents someone who's a champion, right? They have success, they're doing things right, they're ambitious, they're going after what they need, and they're doing it with so much determination and energy being put toward it. So if I think of like someone who's, a champion, sometimes they can also be a little bit arrogant, and sometimes can also put themselves in a situation where they're not really looking out for themselves anymore, because they're like, well, I have everything's going right for me, so nothing could go wrong. And that's when you start to realize that other things are happening behind the surface, where someone's wanting to take advantage of a situation. So that's where that downfall energy of champion with achievement and downfall keywords, it comes in here, right? High achievement can also lead you to really deep downfall. But the fact that this is coming in as advice, and this is showcasing this energy of something that you could take on, showcases too that this can also be used to showcase that even though they seem like they're the champion in this situation because you're at a current disadvantage, does not mean that it's going to last, and doesn't mean that they're always going to be able to take advantage of you in this way, or that you're always going to be at a disadvantage. That the more healing and growth that you do, the more you communicate and advocate for yourself and find people who actually are like those sunflowers that will actually bring mutual aid toward you, are the people that are going to help rally against them, and bring them to their downfall. And so there is this feeling too of making sure you're surrounding yourself around the right kind of people, the people who are actually supportive, actually giving you mutual aid, aren't using your downfall to their advantage, and finding ways in which to elicit more peace of mind for yourself as you move forward. So I want to pull some charms to get some more details to see if there's anything else that's coming in here as to maybe what caused this downfall or other bits of advice that are needed. So let's go ahead and pull these up for you. Feel free to send your energy in and I'll pull some. So what's in and out of balance here for group 1? Okay, lots of charms falling on the champion here. I'll go ahead and zoom you in. So the champion, like I said, is what you're trying to take on, but it also is showcasing like who these birds are and their true colors. And so you have the don't jump the gun charm, which represents someone who is leaping onto an opportunity a little bit too quickly. They're not thinking it through, kind of like a champion would, right? They're like a little arrogant. You have the number 11, which is a wish-making number, and then you have that love is locked. So the actions that they are taking are for their own wishes, their own gain, right? Their own wishes, their own gain. They're doing it very quickly, and it's not from a place of love. It's not from a place of mutual aid and mutual support. Rather, it's for their own mutual aid and support within their own little camaraderie that's happening here. You do have like a little witch that's showing up here right between these two charms. There could be a little bit of witchcraft that could be happening here in between them in terms of like things you could be doing and helping yourself through this situation with. Maybe some magical spells that might be useful to you, whether baneful or not, that's up to you. You have more of that lock energy when it comes to the locket, but a locket usually represents love that is locked, sure, but it also is protecting your love, protecting the people that you love and care about, rather than being locked off to love. And so again, more of that mutual aid, that support that's coming from within, someone wanting to hold you close and keep you, like trying to kind of corral around you and protect you at this time, that you're not alone in this situation for sure. You also have the get back on the saddle charm next to the jellyfish charm showing up here with the hermit. So this may not feel like the perfect time, and it may feel kind of like a sting to you to start getting back on the saddle when it comes to working on your own mental health or working on different inner growth and healing that is maybe needed for you. That it's going to feel like a bit of a sting. It's going to be a bit difficult at the start, but it's also something that's really beautiful, just like jellyfish, and something that can light your path and light your way if you embrace the difficulty that comes from that. And then you also have the unknown charm showing up here out by the champion as well, between the hermit, which showcases to me that there's an unknown element that isn't being showcased here. Could be something having to do with something beyond the veil, as a lot of the time when we hit the equinox, this is a nod to the veil starting to thin, so there could be something spiritual happening outside of your knowing, where someone is also giving some mutual aid or some support, maybe someone from your spirit team or spirits in which you work with. So overall, those are all of the charms and cards that I have here for you, Group 1. I hope that this has been useful and helpful to you. It was kind of a different kind of reading, so I'd love to hear your thoughts down below if you found this useful and helpful in some way, and I'm wishing you the best for your equinox. If you did find it useful and helpful, like I said, do comment down below and give this video a like if you did find it useful. And also, if you are interested in more pick a card readings like this one, deeper in-depth ones, as well as educational videos on charm casting and on art magic, then definitely feel free to subscribe, as I put out new videos every single Monday that I think you'd really enjoy. And if you are interested in looking into the different ways in which you could get a much deeper, more in-depth reading with a snail mail reading, all of the information on that will be down below with helpful and honest reviews over on my Instagram. And you're always welcome with any of the things that I offer to message me or email me, and I'll send you more information as well, whether that's for a snail mail reading, for Samhain spell and ritual papers or Mabon ones, or if you're interested in getting your own custom stamp or sigil that you can use in your own magic, then definitely feel free to reach out for those. But I'm going to go ahead and close off your reading here. Thank you so much for hanging out here with me today. Happy equinox, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello Group 2, if you decide to choose this piece of red tiger's eye, then this is the pile for you, as we are going to be exploring what the equinox is bringing forward for you when it comes to balance, to see if things are in or out of balance. As we move through this reading, we might find that there's a lot of things that are in balance for you, and there's not a lot that we really maybe need to look into too much, or we might find that there's a whole bunch of things that are out of balance, and we're going to be diving into that. This is the perfect time as we're moving into Libra season, as well as with the equinox for either the spring or fall, depending on which hemisphere you're in, to look into the same reason that balance is so heavily on our minds at this time of year, because the equinox is and does mean equal day and equal night. So we're going to be seeing how that is coming forward with the idea of balance with the charms, as well as several different oracle decks, which I'll have as always listed down below in the description in case you're curious. And the deck that we're actually going to be using today is the one that I recently received in a giveaway, and I'm so excited about it, and it is the Folkloric Forest Tarot. I've had my eyes on this one ever since she first put it out as a project, and so I'm so happy to have it in my hands. But usually I tend to do a reading for myself with a deck to get to know it, to really introduce the deck to myself, and myself to introduce myself to the deck, right, to really get to know the deck and see its own personality. But this one has just been sitting and waiting and just telling me to go ahead and start using it. So we're just going to see what happens here today, as it is a new deck to me, and we're going to see its personality unfold with you all. So do feel free to get yourself cozy and settled and comfy for this one, and also, as always, to use your own intuition as we move through this. It's going to be a slightly less intense reading in terms of how long it is, so we're going to keep this one slightly more brief, especially since I have family over right now, so it might be slightly loud. You might hear footsteps or weird sounds, so go ahead and ignore those as we get started here. So let's start first by pulling 2 cards to look into 2 things that are either in balance or out of balance for you all. So what's in or out of balance for Group 2, in which we need to really look or highlight at this time? So we have Temperance, all about balance, and I love this card. So let's go ahead and look at the other one to accompany it and see what else is coming in or out of balance. Okay, so you also have the Ten of Water. Very sunny scenes happening here with each of your cards, with Temperance and the Ten of Water. I'm going to go ahead and zoom you guys in so you can see even closer. But both of these are very balanced cards and ones that showcase a lot of very positive attitudes. So it's showcasing to me that you're maybe in a position or spot right now where either things are about to balance out, or you are currently in a situation where you're really good at mixing and mingling things. You're really good at balancing things out, especially when it comes to family and your emotions at this time, that you're learning or working through a lot of emotions that are bringing things to balance. As the Ten of Water is all about things coming into balance, and it's also about fulfillment, feeling fulfilled in your relationships, feeling fulfilled and comfortable and confident in the relationships in which you are building. And so it's really interesting too, because one, you're seeing all of these relationships not only with other friends and family, but also with relationships with animals, relationships with nature, relationships with spirit. And the fact that you're going over a bridge in each of these is showcasing to me too, this is definitely something where you're bridging a gap of something right now, or there is this feeling of, it's water under a bridge. You're not letting things get to you too deeply or too intensely. That maybe in the past that has happened. I kind of have this feeling that like in the past things haven't always been that easy, that the river really was rushing far more than it used to be. But I feel like, it's water under the bridge. It's water off a duck's back. You're not allowing things to come in and swoop under you anymore or pull you into the river anymore. You found a bridge, you found support in which you can people that you can emotionally lean on, spirits that you can lean on, or nature that you can lean on, grounding practices you can lean on when it comes to your emotional state. So I think that the thing that is most in balance right now maybe isn't things that are happening outside of you or externally, the things you can't control, but the things within that you can control. Sure, we can't control the fact that we have certain emotions, but we can control how we act upon those emotions, the behavior in which we elicit afterwards. And I feel like you're behaving a very calm and stable sort of energy that's coming forward here. It really feels very, very nice. Temperance is such a beautiful card too, gorgeous, right? And what I love about this card too is it showcases this feeling of sort of moving from summer to fall. Like it almost feels, I don't know if you guys have watched Bridge to Terabithia or something. It kind of feels like that when I look at this image, this feeling of walking across a bridge and emerging in a new world. So it also showcases to me that right now this is a time too of finding balance within nature. Especially some of these cards don't really focus on nature too much, but this one particularly I really feel like it does. And this feeling of being in tandem with the seasons, being in tandem and in step with the natural changings and rhythms of life right now. I really feel like you guys are in a really good spot. So let's see if there's anything else that maybe hasn't been highlighted here that could be. So let's see, group 2. Okay, you've got the squirrel and chestnut. Makes sense. Definitely feels like you guys are, again, in tandem with nature. The squirrel and chestnut preparation. The squirrels, I have seen so many squirrels around me recently that have just been preparing for this fall and preparing for the coming winter season after. Because there's this feeling too of them placing the nuts into their little caches anywhere that they can find, really, to make sure that they are ready and prepared for the coming seasons to come, whether it's either fall or even into winter more likely, right? There's this thinking ahead, not even just one season ahead, but two. And I think right now you are, maybe this could be advice of something to be working on, right? Maybe you're in step with nature so much that you're not thinking ahead, that maybe you're not thinking about the season to come. But there is this feeling of highlighting preparation in some way and making sure you are prepared and ready to go for the season to come. Not only the squirrel, but the chestnut as well, showcasing too that we don't think of planting seeds, in fall, at least here in the northern hemisphere, right? That's happening. Some of you in the spring maybe, but those of us in the fall right now, right, we're not thinking about planting seeds, we're thinking about hunkering down and getting ready before spring eventually comes a couple seasons from now. So this is really looking ahead and looking deeper into things, and maybe right now, because you're so focused on just being in the moment, which is really nice, there may be things that you're missing when it comes to preparation. So let's see what else is coming in here with another card. This is the Citadel Oracle, and it is a whole bunch of different archetypes. So I'm curious if there's a particular archetype that you could be taking on right now, or one that might be in, that isn't in balance for you right now that we could be focusing on, or any advice. So group 2, what do you got? Okay, so you have the Chiromancer, delivering news and collaboration. Such a pretty card. I love these cards so much. So yeah, you have the Chiromancer. So because you have so much imbalance right now, maybe something when it comes to preparation that's happening here between the balancing states that you have, something maybe in conflict with those on your bridge that you're having to kind of cross, is this feeling of needing to deliver, or not even a feeling, but just knowing you need to deliver some sort of news that maybe is quite difficult, or something that you've been kind of putting aside, putting to the back of your mind. Maybe it's news that isn't so great that you need to deliver to someone that you know. Maybe it's news in which you haven't really taken in or sunken into because you're trying to think in the moment and not wanting to think ahead towards the things that this news has brought forward. Maybe there's some kind of news that's come forward that you're like, okay, maybe I should be preparing for this, maybe I should be thinking about this, but instead you're kind of grazed over it with celebrations and hanging out with family and doing the things that you love, which are great, and they bring you a lot of stability and emotional stable energy. But there's this feeling, like I said, like there's something you're wanting to avoid, push under the rug, look at it later. You don't want to prepare for it. It's literally water under the bridge. So that's kind of what I'm getting here. That's the only thing that really feels majorly out of balance for you guys. And even when I say majorly, it really feels like just an inconvenience or something you don't want to look at. But over time is slowly going to become worse and worse under that bridge, right? It's going to slowly crumble that bridge. So it's something to really prepare for and make sure that you're looking ahead towards the future as well, because there might be something coming up or news that's going to arrive that you weren't expecting or prepared for. And that's why this preparation is really important, whether that's having your own personal cache of money set aside, whether that's making sure you're emotionally prepared, or maybe it's even just making sure that you are preparing someone else for delivering more difficult news. So I'm going to pull some charms to get those final details and see if there's anything else we can look at here. So do feel free to send your energy in and I'll pull some for you. Okay, they definitely all wanted to fall more on what we don't know as much about, which makes a lot of sense. It could be something that already happened. Maybe you've already gotten this news, or this news has already come up because you did get Virgo season showing up here and it's falling underneath your bridge. So it could have had something that happened within the last month or so that you're preparing for. The only one that you got outside of on top of the Chiromancer is over here in Temperance on the side of summer, which showcases, I kind of see this as water, but I also see this as one of those stress relieving stones, the rubbing stones or whatever you call them. That's kind of how it feels. So I always think of it as something that's you're sort of relaxing with or finding stress relief within. Again, another reason why, like I said, you feel maybe so imbalance, or so in balance and feeling so comforted and supported and in a good place right now is because, again, maybe you are ignoring or not preparing for certain things. Some of the things that might be coming forward when it comes to this news that is delivered could be something related to a teacher, as we do have the apple coming forward. The apple also makes me think of something related to maybe health. There's also something showing up here relating to freedom with the bird. You actually got the squirrel. That's so funny. You actually got the squirrel charm. I've just recently gotten this charm of this little squirrel sitting on this little branch. And the fact that you got that here definitely is showcasing that squirrel energy of needing to prepare for certain news coming forward that either has already happened or the ball is already starting to roll when it comes to this preparation. The apple also can represent, like I said, health, so it could be related to health, mental health. You have the invisibility charm showing up here next to the self-care charm, but this one is particularly self-care related to making sure that you're like getting certain tasks done, right? It's not the self-care that is like, I'm having a spa day for myself and taking a day off and going to the river and chilling. This is like caring for yourself by doing the difficult, hard things that you don't want to do, but in the long run are going to help you. And you have that showing up with the invisibility charm, because it's like you can't really see it. Like, I can't even pick it up. But it's just like this little snowman. So I always think of it as being sort of shrouded over this, like you're not wanting to look at it, just hide it under the rug. But as you work on these things, as you get this information, you're actually going to feel more free because of it, because you're not having the burden of it just running under the bridge. You're not running to look at it. You're just letting it fall off the duck's back. And after an amount of time, right, that water does add up. And so I feel like over time you're going to feel the stress of it, and getting to it ahead of time is going to be your best bet here. So overall, those are all of the charms and cards that I have here for you for your Equinox messages. I hope that this has been useful and helpful to you, Group 2, and if it has, definitely let me know in the comments down below if you saw something differently, or if you saw the charms or cards differently. I'd love to hear. And if you did find it useful, definitely be sure to give this video a like. And if you are interested in more pick a card readings, or you want to start getting your own charm set going, or you're interested in art magic, then definitely feel free to subscribe, as I put out new videos every single Monday that I think you'd really enjoy. And if you want to get a much deeper reading than this one and really dive deep into a question or query or theme in your life that's been happening that you really want to look deeper into, maybe about those preparations or others, then definitely feel free to reach out for a snail mail reading where I send a letter to you in the mail. It's typewritten on a vintage typewriter. It's wax sealed closed for your eyes only, and I really dive deep. So feel free to reach out for one of those through an email, or letting me know through my Instagram DMs. You can also find more helpful and honest reviews over there on my Instagram as well, and more information on other things that I get up to, such as spell and ritual papers for different Sabbats for Mabon or Samhain coming up. And you can also get your own custom stamps that I hand carve for you. I have an entire video showcasing how you can use magical stamps if that's something you're interested in. So with that all said, though, I'm going to go ahead and close off your reading, wishing you the best through this Equinox and Libra season, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello, Group 3. If you decide to choose this piece of Rutilated quartz, then this is the pile for you, as we are going to be exploring your Equinox messages that are coming forward to show if things are in balance or out of balance for you. The two last piles have showed different versions of this entirely, so I'm very curious to what comes forward for you all with the charms, with several different oracle decks and everything that's coming forward here. But because we're heading into Libra season, and with the autumn equinox or spring equinox if you're in the southern hemisphere, this is the perfect time to see things that are in balance and see if there's something out of balance that we could be working on. So let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to be using the Folkloric Forest Tarot, a new deck to me, and a recently new deck as well being made, because I recently received it in a giveaway, and usually when I get a deck in my hands, the first thing I want to do is do a reading for myself, just to see what comes forward, to see the personality of the deck, get to know it. And for some reason, this deck has just been like sitting there like, please use me, I cannot wait. And so we're going to be using this deck today, and it definitely shows with the messages that have been coming forward. So we're going to be playing around with this one here in just a moment, but do want to let you know if you hear weird rumblings above or weird sounds, it's just because I've got a lot of family over and other people, so feel free to ignore those bits, but we're going to get started here. So feel free to get yourself cozy, settled, comfy, put your intuition cap on, and we're going to get right into it. So here we go. For you guys, Group 3, what is in and out of balance right now that we need to focus on and look into for this equinox? Group, I can feel it. Group 3. So you have the King of Water kind of looking away from whatever might be happening over here. So I'm very curious to see. It definitely feels like something out of balance. Group 3. And you have the Maiden, so also known as the Empress. So you have the Maiden showing up here with the King of Water at the other side, both of them sort of looking away from one another. These can have sort of a gendered feel to them if you wish to look that way, with the King and the Maiden and the Empress energy, but these are very neutral energies as well. So you have the Maiden over here with this energy of the tree sort of looking away, not really looking at this king. And this king also looking away towards the sea, away from the land, away from the trees, away from the forest. So there's this feeling of these energies really battling or in contrast with one another, not wanting to work together. Definitely feel almost like siblings that are like butting heads, and they just are looking away from each other and they do not want to hug and make up. That's the feeling that I'm getting here from these two energies. They could be two different people in your life that maybe are in conflict, or maybe you're in conflict and you feel like you are one or the other. But where the Maiden really wants to be on land, wants to nurture, to grow, and to nurture not only themselves but the entire forest around them with her own roots, or their own roots in this way. The King of Water is wanting to move away from the land, wanting to kind of go it their own, and there's this very independent energy that's coming from this King of Water, which is interesting because usually the King of Water is one who wants to work with the community or work with their own emotions and let them flow in and out and in and out. But in this case, this king really feels like they just want to head out on their own and do their own thing and are very much away from their emotions. So this shows me maybe where there are things out of whack. There's something happening within this relationship of things, whether that is for you maybe a project with the Maiden being in such a earthly sort of energy, and then the emotional side of it. So there's maybe something you're nurturing to grow right now within your career or within your within finances and things, but you're so emotionally detached from it. Maybe you're not finding a lot of fulfillment in this job or within this role, within this hobby or this particular project that you're working on, and yet you still feel like you have to keep on going because maybe you really need the money, maybe you need the support. Could be a lot of different reasons, right, that we're not emotionally invested, but are still nurturing it to grow. But at the other side of it, it feels like you're like wanting to head out on your own to do something else, to do something separate from the rest of it. And maybe these two things just really don't feel like they're meshing or mingling. They're two very different worlds happening here. So I want to see what's happening in the middle here, see if we can get some more information. So definitely feel free to connect the cards here. See what's coming forward for group 3. Any more information about this King of Water and Maiden energy coming forward here. Okay, so we have one falling more towards the King of Water side with the Bobcat and Blackthorn Patience. Ooh, it feels, okay, I'm sort of getting it now. There's this feeling that, like, yes, there's something you're really working to grow and trying to nurture to grow, and whether that's a nice little nest egg, whether that's something financial, whether it really feels like something related to career or finances or some big project that you're working on, something that's going to bring in some sort of money or some sort of support, even maybe emotional support too, right? Like working on a friendship or working on helping someone else in some way, that it's eventually going to help you and really be a positive impact in your life over time. But it's something that you're having to like really wait on. Like you don't have a lot of patience for. You don't want to wait it out. You want the results now. And the King of Water is like, okay, I'm ready to head out. I don't want to head towards winter. I'm not ready for all of these things. And all of this still has to happen before I can get my prize, before I can get the fruits of my labor. Totally understand that. Sometimes we can be impatient and we don't want to wait things out, and that makes a lot of sense. The Bobcat wants to run and go and get things done, and you're kind of feeling that way too, maybe with this King of Water. Again, you might be feeling one or the other. You might be feeling like you're maybe more on this nurturing side and you feel like there's someone maybe overseeing a project that's pushing you, right? This could be an outside influence. It doesn't have to be you necessarily that is wanting to move away from the project. But it definitely feels like a thorn in your side, like you don't really want to keep going on it. So let's see if there's any advice coming forward for you guys with a archetype from the Citadel Oracle. So these are all different types of archetypes, and I want to see if there's one that you could maybe be taking on or one to be thinking about for some advice right now. So group 3 here. Some advice. You have the Wise One, and it's literally pointing up towards this bobcat, as well as the eye that is here at the center of it all. With the Wise One, tradition, order. This makes a lot of sense. This King of Water feels like they do not want anything to do with order and tradition and doing things the way they are meant to be, or doing things in order. But, sometimes we have to wait things out. Sometimes things take a lot of time. Sometimes healing takes time. Sometimes, finances take time to grow. And it is upsetting sometimes to have to wait for the fruits of our labor, wait for those relationships to grow, wait for those things to come to us that we want in a positive light. And so this is you trying to maybe take on this, or this is a good way to balance right now, is taking on some more traditional things, or maybe it doesn't even have to be traditional, but just in general finding some sort of order in the chaos of everything, or finding order in the way in which you approach this particular maiden energy. So you have the Wise One coming forward as an archetype you could be taking on. I'm going to pull some charms to finish off your reading. This is a much smaller reading here today, but we're going to pull some charms to see if there's anything else that we could be pulling from these cards. So feel free to send your energy in, and I will pull some for you. Okay, so, that's interesting. I'm going to talk about the one that fell first on the King of Water over here, and it fell right at their wings with this chopping knife. And the knife represents, in this case, this particular cleaver, represents something that is an ending, but one that is, we're chopping something off, letting something go, that is very clean cut. It's not something that we're going to snag ourselves on like a hacksaw. It's something very clean cut. We're done with it. We're moving forward. And so there's going to be maybe this really big shift in your perspective, especially around this maiden energy that you might be taking on, this nurturing energy towards something that is more in order and more in alignment with the goals and energy that you're heading towards within, whether that's trying to get financial freedom, whether that's trying to nurture a project or a hobby or something like that. But it does seem that that means you also have to let go of that wing of freedom. So there's something right now where maybe you want to be heading off in a very different direction, and this just isn't the time for it, and maybe you're going to have a very clear understanding of that and sort of cut off that idea for now in a very clear way. You also have over here the Wise One with tradition and order showing up here at the very top. The sort of quarter charm. And this one I used to read with Helen Keller here, but for some reason I'm really feeling the other side. It just feels like this is a quarter of time. So it's also telling me that this isn't going to last a long time, right? We're thinking that this is going to take forever for it to be able to grow and to be able to get what you need out of it, or to get the results, the fruits of your labor. But it's going to only take a quarter of the year. It's just one more season that you have to wait things out, or just one or two more seasons that it's not going to last forever, or maybe putting things into smaller chunks of success could be really helpful over time as well. Not looking at the whole task list or how long it's truly going to take to be able to get the fruits of your labor, or to get to the other side of a difficult situation that maybe this may be, but rather looking at it in smaller quarter chunks could be useful and helpful to you moving forward. Over here on the little nest egg, the maiden, the forest in which you are growing here, you have the black and white charm, which tells me that things aren't always so black and white within this, which makes a lot of sense. It's complex. You have the kind of like the quarter charm. This represents a paper clip, which is something that holds things together temporarily. So it also is telling me that you don't have to be without this freedom forever, but rather just really hunkering in, putting all of your energy towards this particular project, this goal, or something related to finances and career, that it's only going to last a little while, that you don't have to do this for a long period of time, that the light is at the other side of the tunnel, that you're going to be able to make it through, and you're not going to be stuck in this forever, that the light is going to come through the trees, that you are going to have support around you of other trees in the forest to help you too. So as I'm starting to lose my voice here, I'm going to go ahead and close off your guys' reading. I hope that this has been useful and helpful to you in navigating the next few weeks of balance with the Equinox and Libra season. If it was, definitely be sure to let me know in the comments down below, and let me know with a like to this video. And if you're interested in more pick a card readings like this one, or looking into art magic, or getting your own charm set built, then definitely feel free to check out these videos, or check out the other videos that I'll be putting out every single Monday by subscribing. And if you want to dive deeper into anything we talked about here, or another topic or question that's been really ruminating on your mind, then definitely feel free to reach out for a snail mail reading, where I send a letter to you in the mail. It's typewritten on a vintage typewriter, wax sealed closed for your eyes only, really diving deep into your question and query in a very personal way. So if that's something you're interested in, I have more information down below through my Instagram, where you can find more helpful and honest reviews through my highlights. And if you're interested in more information on any of the different things that I provide, then always feel free to reach out in an email or an Instagram DM, and I can send more information your way. I'm definitely starting to lose my voice here, so I'm gonna head on out. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for all the support you bring to this channel. Thank you for being you, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.